Hello there everybody, welcome back to another episode of Try New Things. Last week I was called out on a video on Fabbed Fun's channel. Now if you don't know who Fabbed Fun is, you've got to check out his channel. I'll put a link in the description below. But he is a friend of the channel and a fellow tractor enthusiast, and his video was on his top 5 tractor modifications or add-ons. And he issued a challenge out for me to do the same on the RK25, and I'm here tonight to honor that challenge. So what do I consider the top 5 add-ons or modifications that I have done to the RK25 so far? Now I could take the easy way out and just call out a series of implements like the rotary tiller, the box blade, the aerator, the chipper, and honestly my favorite are pallet forks. You don't know how useful pallet forks are until you have a set of pallet forks. Now although each and every one of those implements are very handy and make life a lot easier here on the farm, I do feel it's a bit of a cop-out. Now that being said, I'm at a significant disadvantage. I don't have the mad fab skills of Fabbed Fun. If it comes to metal, I can't make it. So I don't have the tools, I don't have the skills, and I don't have the materials to make anything out of metal. If it's made out of wood, I got a chance, but out of metal, not yet. Someday I'll learn to weld. So I'm gonna have to stick to some more traditional add-ons and modifications. And I'm gonna go through them from 5 up to 1. Stay tuned. So for me, here is number 5. And it's not even going to register for most people on your list of priorities. But here on my brush guard, I've got remote terminals for my battery. Now, if you need to jump your tractor, this would make it convenient, but it's not worth the effort if all you're considering doing is jumping your tractor once in a while. Now, I find this particularly useful because in the summertime, quite often I find myself at the bottom of the hill, down at the creek, using a 12-volt pump to pump myself some water to water all the berries and plants in the garden and that kind of thing. And hooking it up at this location is super convenient. So for me, that's number 5, and it's at the bottom of my list because it's not going to be that valuable to most people. All right, number 4 is the light bar, the LED light bar. Bright as all get out, and normally you would think that would score a little higher on the list, but truth be told, I've used it very rarely. So I'm not out here at night a lot. When I like to be out here, it's the summer and the days are long. Now I've been hoping for some snow and do some snow removal with the RK25, but we just haven't had any snow to remove since I bought it. So the light bar, although very practical, very useful, comes in number 4 on my top 5 list. All right, moving on to number 3 of my top 5 modifications or add-ons to the RK25, and that's it right there. That's the chainsaw holder. Now, in the spring and in the winters when I typically do most of my trimming, I've spent 2 years beating back the forest out here on the farm and turning it into a nice lawn that I can mow, and that job I found out will never be done. There's continuous encroachment, there's always trees and branches falling down, and that's a very handy way to carry around your chainsaw rather than in the bucket, which is how I did it in the beginning. Not that that's terrible, but this is better. Now in my case, I went with a product from Max Tough, and it mounts here to the arm of the loader, and it does a fantastic job. Now what I'm wishing I had done is bought a black one and not a red one. When I put this on, it was nice bright red, matched the tractor quite well, and now it's a pastel pink color from fading in the sun. But it still holds up and does the job just as well as when it was new. I just wish it wasn't pink. And maybe that's the reason why it's so low on the list. So from ITC Quick Connect comes number 2 on the list, and that's this sidestep on what would be the driver's side of a tractor. You know what I'm talking about anyways. It would have been handy when my dad was here, help him get on and off the tractor a lot easier. I find it quite beneficial, even though that's not a terrible step up. But in particular, when you got wet and muddy boots, or the pan there, the floor pan is covered with ice and snow, a nice grippy step sure is handy. So I use that almost every time I get on and off the tractor, and for that reason, I'm putting it at number 2. All right, so I'm just about ready to reveal my number 1 modification or addition to the RK25. Before that, I want to announce I'm going to do a bonus sixth favorite add-on or modification to my tractor. And it's one that I'm sure that a lot of you will agree with, and it applies to any tractor. But hold on, we'll get to that after my number 1 modification or addition. And here is my number 1 add-on or modification to the RK25. Now, unless you know what you're looking at, it may not show up. But the RK25 already comes with loaded rear tires, which are fantastic for stability on a slope, which 3/4 of my property is a slope. But in addition to that, I added wheel spacers. Now, I had some comments worried about the wheel spacers and damage. I've had them on here quite a while. I have hauled some heavy loads. I've done a lot of work with the tractor since, and they have held up awesomely. Now, you don't have to go quite as wide as I did. I think I went with 3.5-inch wheel spacers. We'll have to go back to the video and remind myself how big I actually went. But just that little bit of difference makes a big difference with the stability of your tractor. So now my rear tires stick out, and my overall width at the rear axle is a good 7 or 8 inches wider than it was factory. And that, because my safety depends on this tractor, is my number 1 add-on or modification. But I promised you a 6, so I'm going to give that to you. All right, have you been able to guess what my favorite add-on to the RK25 has been since the 2 years since I bought it? Now, it's something you can't buy necessarily, can be expensive at times, but this add-on is worth every single penny. So my bonus add-on is family. So my daughter out here on the farm, there's not a lot of things she really enjoys doing, I'll be completely honest, and she'll be honest with you too if you ask her. But she did have a great time, and does have a great time when she has a chance to drive the tractor. So that's one job that she loves to do when she's out here on the farm. Love may be a little strong, so I'll go with enjoy more than other chores. And just recently, I guess it's been about a month ago or so, had the awesome pleasure of my dad coming to visit. And he was here for 2.5, 3 weeks. And we would come out on the farm nearly every single day, and he would not let me on my tractor. So as soon as we get here, he wanted the keys to drive the tractor around. And I'll tell you, he was a ton of help. Having an extra set of hands on the farm means an awful lot, especially when it's someone you're related to, like your dad. So very enjoyable, but I had the added pleasure of getting some additional exercise because I walked everywhere while he drove everywhere. But when you see the smiles of family when they're sitting on your tractor, I think you'll agree that's worthy of a bonus number 6. Now, if I'm following the spirit of this correctly, I think I'm supposed to call out a couple other YouTubers with the same challenge of coming up with a video of their top 5 favorite add-ons or modifications for their tractors. So the first one I want to call out is Projects with JW. Now, don't give him a hard time, his tractor is green. I'm not going to hold that against him. Great tractor. So maybe we'll get a nice mix of something different than you've seen on the red tractor so far. And the second one that I want to call out is Chicken Hawk Farmstead. Now, he's from that way just a little ways, and I think he bought this tractor's niece or nephew from the same Rural King as I did. So I'm going to challenge both of them to come up with a video and show their top 5 favorite add-ons or modifications that they've done with their tractors. Now before I sign off, I want to thank Fabbed Fun for thinking about me and calling me out on this and issuing me this challenge. So challenge received, challenge delivered. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them below. I love to read your comments. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It helps the channel out an awful lot. And until the next video, bye-bye.